Well, hello, hello, hello. If you've landed here, you've landed on Let's Talk News, and I'm your host, Leticia Remauro, and we are here with us on a special time with a special edition of Let's Talk News because we are going to watch President Trump's speech together. I think. I say I think because lots of major stations are not surprised carrying the speech tonight. Why? Because they all want to stick by their reporting that there was nothing wrong with the 2020 elections. And tonight, the conversation is going to focus on election integrity. So, those news channels, all of whom have Chinese backers, are just not going to carry the speech live. They'll have snippets because they're state-run TV, right? They're state-run. The liberal woke CCP state-run TV. And we knew this. We've known this for a while. So, I mean, the fact that they're not covering it, to me, is amazing. But they don't want anybody who watches their station to know that our elections have been infiltrated many times, not just 2020, but 2020 was the most egregious. So we have Kevin Wall from the other side of the world in the same side of the issues. How are you, Kevin? And Francine is with us. Yeah, they never start on time. Well, that's why I figured 8:45. We could talk a little bit about, who's carrying and who's not carrying it. And supposedly the White House, I have both their YouTube and the White House website up, and supposedly we could watch it there, although I didn't see the live scheduled. So I just don't know what's going on, but we'll find out. We'll figure it out together. Hello, Karen. How are you? Hello, Colleen. Good to have you. Hi, Andrew Dorman. I don't know if I said hello to you already. And hello, Angela Ricca. Well, thank you all for joining me at this that's this strange time. But let's see. I wanted to show you the press conference today. Newsmax, okay. Ridiculous. It's not on MSM. It's Newsmax and Fox, supposedly. But I wanted to get it straight from the White House. So I wanted to show you this. Hold on. And we're gonna do this together. All right. This was a press conference today. Let's see. I want to make sure I have that and go.
I think that everyone should tune in tonight, including the people in this room, and you should report on the president's speech and the findings that he is going to reveal in this speech with a little bit of honesty and a little bit of integrity, because it will shock you if you have an honest eye listening to the president tonight, and everything he is saying will be backed by facts and by evidence that will be provided this evening. And again, Garrett, I think all Americans, Democrat, Republican, should agree that we are the greatest country in the history of the world. We should have the safest and most secure elections in the history of the world. And what the president will be speaking about tonight will show you that perhaps that is not the case, and we need to make some adjustments moving forward.
Will he talk about Iran, and why is that not the major topic of his speech? Does he believe that the SAVE Act and the 2020 election integrity are more important right now?
Well, no, it's not a matter of importance. It's just a matter of timing. The president will be making a very important announcement with respect to the integrity of our elections. However, it is also very possible at the top of the speech he will mention the current situation with Iran and also the economy as well. As you all know, President Trump is a man of his own word, and he sometimes is thinking about these things up until he walks out. But we have had conversations about him addressing a range of topics, and that could very well be possible tonight.
Okay, so let's end that right there, and let me just see how I can get out of this. Let's see. All right, so NBC, CNN will not air Trump's election security speech live on primary channels. Two of the three major U.S. television networks and CNN have decided not to broadcast a planned primetime address on Thursday by President Trump on their primary platforms, risking the ire of an administration that has placed unprecedented pressure on American media. Unprecedented pressure. Maybe, just maybe, the American media has shown themselves to be forming a conspiracy against the president, and they seem to think they know better what's going on than the president of the United States, which is laughable to me. It's laughable to me because if the president is got all the information, who are they getting information from? Who on the inside is feeding opposite information? Do you ever think about that? A well-placed source. Well, here's your best placed source, the president. So networks have broad First Amendment rights to decide what they choose to broadcast, experts noted, but historically broadcasters has carried most such speeches on the grounds that they provide information of public importance. Late Thursday afternoon, a spokesperson for ABC News said the network will run Trump's speech on its ABC News live streaming platform and ABC News Radio, not its broadcast channel. NBC News plans to carry the president's remark on its free streaming service, NBC News Now, but will not air the speech on its main broadcast channel, according to a person familiar with the matter. The company declined to comment. In a statement, CNN said it will monitor the speech for news. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? When the president speaks, it is news. With a live feed appearing on its website and CNN All Access, its subscription streaming channel. The ABC, NBC streaming channels generally draw a fraction of the viewers that their traditional broadcast signals reach. CNN's digital network is a paid-for service with a smaller audience than its regular cable channel. So Trump has spent years sowing doubt about electoral outcomes. All right, here now. Reuters falsely claiming his 2020 loss to Democrat Joe Biden was rigged. Okay, based on what? Do you say falsely? I would like somebody to show me evidence that his claims are false. And I have a good feeling that today we're going to know that his claims are not false, but they are actually true. He also claimed without evidence the mail-in voting is rife with fraud. Voting machines are vulnerable to manipulation, and non-citizen voting is widespread. Some Democrats, including U.S. Representative, of course, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is the brightest bulb in the Democrats' crayon box or pack, urged networks not to air the speech, arguing Trump is likely to repeat debunked claims. Who debunked them? When were they debunked? Who debunked them? And why are we believing the quote unquote debunkers rather than believing the president of the United States? What is it? Only Democrats tell the truth? Is that what we're doing here? I've about had it. I truly have. It's kind of crazy. Let's see. RSBN is doing it. Oh, I'm glad that they're airing it. That's great, Kevin. So poor people don't have a cable, probably don't even know. You're absolutely right, Colleen. Disrespect. Yep. So CBS is airing. Yeah, I believe that they are airing it. And I don't understand that because that has the most Chinese influence, but that's interesting. Hello, Professor. Your question. I can recall Gettysburg Address and media reported he is suing 2 women. I can recall Gettysburg. Oh, right. I got you. Yeah, well, the media is going to screw it. Is going to portray it any way they want. My local news on ABC said Trump is expected to bring up debunked voter fraud from 2020. I would like to know who's debunking it, but that's okay. What I understand is that there is evidence now, and that because the Save America Act did not pass in time for the midterms, Trump is going to to use an emergency measure to actually force voter ID. And how can he possibly? He has nothing to lose, right? Because more than 98% of Americans think that election integrity is very important, and they wanted the Save America Act, but Thune, proved that he was nothing but a bumbling idiot and a liar, and he couldn't get that over the finish line. I will say Trump didn't help him. If they had left the Save America Act intact as it was written by the House the first time, I think that we would have been in better shape. Trump wanted to put a whole bunch of shit in there. I didn't care for that too much. I would have liked to get it across the finish line through Congress. But if he can show that our elections are in peril and our freedom is in peril and our Constitution is in jeopardy, which I believe he can, then he has emergency powers as president. And part of those powers can be not an executive order, but an emergency power to ensure that the elections are fair and honest. So he can circumvent the states. And I think that's what we're going to hear tonight. It's going to be an interesting ride, and you better be ready, because we are going to hear the Hitler commentary, the fascist commentary, the authoritarian commentary. The swamp is going to have an absolute meltdown. We're going to, all the cockroaches tonight will be the night when the light goes on in the kitchen and all the cockroaches start to scramble. This is going to be that night, because as I understand it, the evidence that Trump has is irrefutable, and they're all going to have to scramble to try to protect their narrative that the election fraud claim from 2020, the debunking of it came from a source that actually knew what they were talking about. They're not going to be able to do it. They're not. They're going to try the same old shit. They're going to try. But, I don't think anybody's going to buy it, because we have all these socialists running around now who want to dismantle the Constitution and actually take away the presidency, take away the Senate, have Congress appoint the Supreme Court and have control over it. There would only be one level of government, and that would be Congress, that would do the budget and everything else. No president. The 450 some odd members of Congress would be in control equally. No leader. It's freaking hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. All right, let me get, hold on a second. Let me see. I don't know which one to put up. Okay, let's see. You know what? Let me try Fox. Hold on a second. Stay with me. Stay with me, and let's see what's going on. I don't want to soon President Trump will address the nation. Okay. All right. So they are going to have it live on Fox. I'd rather give the White House the views than a news organization, even Fox. But we have to see which one does it first, right? And I'm going to try and figure out how to do that while I'm talking to you. All right. So you guys tell me, what do you think is going to happen tonight, and what do you think the fallout will be? I'm very interested in knowing. Do you think that Trump has real evidence about 2020? Do you think that he is going to use emergency powers to make voter ID mandatory in the November election? And if he does do that, what do you think is going to happen next? Who's going to get involved? What's going to happen? Because now you'll have the governors. Here's the thing. How many? I think it's 43 states have voter ID. I say. Blah, 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 blah. Nope, that's not going to help me. Hang on a second. 36 states have laws requesting or requiring voters to show some form of identification. Okay, so 36 states. Here are the states that do not require. Hold on, I'll share my screen with you. These are the states that do not right now require voter ID. Okay, Alabama, the states below, I'm sorry, these are the states that do require. Alabama, Arkansas, Florida. The ID also needs a signature on it. Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Nebraska, New Hampshire, North Carolina, Ohio, Oklahoma, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, and Wisconsin. Voters in Michigan with a photo ID must present it at the polls by law, but a voter can cast their ballot without a photo ID if they sign an affidavit stating they are not in possession of a valid photo ID. Texas has a similar requirement. Okay, so these states require non-photo IDs, but also accept photo IDs to vote in person. Okay, so non-photos. So there you could just show your ID. Alaska, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, North Dakota, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Arizona will accept either one photo ID, two forms of identification with a current address, or a photo ID in a form with a current address on it. Montana will accept a photo ID or other form of identification that lists a voter's name and current address. Oregon, which conducts voting via mail-in ballots, does not require a photo ID when registering voters. Utah, which also primarily votes by mail, requires either a photo ID or two forms of alternative IDs. That's so interesting. Washington is also primarily a vote by mail state. Those who want to vote in person need to provide identification or sign a ballot declaration. It's crazy. And here are the states and Washington, D.C. do not require any documentation to vote. California, you're not going to be surprised, right? California, Hawaii, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Pennsylvania, and Vermont. So I wonder why would you not want voter ID? Okay, hold on a second. Let's get our Fox up here and see what's going on. What would make you not want voter ID? It doesn't make sense to me. Why wouldn't you want your elections to be as secure as possible? I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. Unless you want to cheat, right? That's the whole thing. Unless you want to cheat. And that we know that that's what they want. They want cheating. So, all right, hold on a second. I'm having a hard time getting into Fox. Let's see what happens. Okay. All right, hold on. We're going to share the screen. Okay. All right. He's on. He started on time, and I was late. I was blabbering.
Most favored nations policy, because I was able to get the rest of the world and the pharmaceutical companies to act responsibly. Drug prices are coming down by 70, 80, and 90%. TrumpRx.gov, this will ultimately reduce the cost of healthcare. You have to go to TrumpRx.gov and take advantage of it. But the cost of healthcare is coming way down because of what we've done with prescription drugs. And with Trump accounts, every child in America now has access to a tax-free investment account to save for their future. Billions and billions of dollars are being invested, put in by companies and individuals to take care of our children so that at age 18, they will have potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in their account, and they'll get off to a great start in life. So for that, go to trumpaccounts.gov and sign up your child or any child who'd like to sign up. Our previously wide open borders have been transformed into the most secure borders in the history of our country, with 0 illegal aliens being admitted to the United States in the past 14 months. That is 0. Nobody thought it was possible. We had the worst border in the history of our country, and now we have the best. Crime is plummeting nationwide, with the murder rate at its lowest level since 1900, or more than 125 years ago. We're making a record investment in our armed forces, and we have the strongest and most powerful military by far anywhere in the world. I built it during my first term, and unfortunately, we're forced to use it now. We won in Venezuela, which is now working with us to produce millions and millions of barrels of oil. We are likewise winning big in Iran, and you will see the fruits of that labor very, very shortly. America is back and doing really well, but we still have a major challenge that must be urgently addressed, because no country can be great without fair and honest elections. You have to trust your country, because if there can be no trust, there can be no greatness. And that's very simple. No trust, no greatness. For many years, I've called for bold, swift, and decisive action to protect the integrity of America's elections. Every American deserves to know that when they cast their vote, that vote will be counted accurately in a system, and that is to make that system secure. One where cheating and interference are not just difficult, but virtually impossible. Unfortunately, the system we have today falls catastrophically short of that standard. Tonight, I'm announcing the immediate declassification and release of critical intelligence revealing shocking vulnerabilities in our election infrastructure. This evidence shows that the election system we have dangerously exposes, and really exposes like levels never thought possible, to hacking, exploitation, and foreign interference. Just as disturbingly, this vital information has for many years been covered up and hidden from you, the American people, our beautiful, our great American people. But that all changes right now. The documents we will release starting tonight have been gathered by the White House Government Transparency Task Force, a great group of people, along with the staff of the President's Intelligence Advisory Board, supported by our top intelligence agency chiefs, who have all personally reviewed the findings. We are presenting this evening and fully confirmed their authenticity. You can see these documents for yourself at whitehouse.gov. That's whitehouse.gov. Go check it out. Our purpose in disclosing this information is not to weaken confidence in election, but to earn that confidence by confronting vulnerabilities and correcting them very, very quickly. And that's what we're doing. The documents cover 5 major areas of concern. First, they show that over a period of years, starting during the 2020 election cycle, the People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files. That information includes names, addresses, phone numbers, political party preferences, and other sensitive data that would be needed to register to vote and engage in other nefarious activities, which is exactly what was happening. This data loss presents an unprecedented election security nightmare. The intelligence even shows that China assigned a data exploitation unit specifically to this new project. Compounding the travesty, the second set of documents we are releasing reveals that members of the deep state, very, very famous group of people in many cases, in our intelligence agency work to actively suppress and downplay information about the extent of China's sinister election meddling, covering it up from both the president and the American people like nobody thought was possible. U.S. spy agencies began learning about the compromise of voter registration files in 2020 when they discovered that tens of millions of voter data, think of that, tens of millions of voters' data in 18 states have been bought, stolen, or hacked by China. Yet those responsible for sounding the alarm instead kept the information secret and hidden. They did not disclose to me as president or to anyone else, and to the best of our knowledge, they did not inform Congress. In fact, all they kept saying is, this is the most secure election in the history of our country. A standard, very pat line that was divvied out to say. The cover-up of this colossal security breach is even more disturbing in light of the additional information showing that China engaged in other election-related activities to undermine my first administration and our 2020 campaign. They did not want, and they just didn't want it. They fought like hell not to have it, Donald Trump, to win, and for good reason. As the documents we are releasing show, CIA reporting explicitly stated, and I quote, in mid-2018, the Chinese Communist Party's policy was to leverage all domestic and foreign elements that were opposed to the U.S. president in an effort to reduce the U.S. president's votes and make him resign or prevent his re-election. Isn't that nice? Also, in mid-2018, China was working to influence the results of the U.S. midterm elections and later the results of the 2020 presidential election itself. Separately, in mid-2019, the Chinese government's strategy against the United States was focused on undermining domestic confidence in the U.S. president. They wanted to just make you sound like your president wasn't so hot, when actually your president has done a great job, and they did everything possible to do exactly that. Going on, this document says, and this is by the CIA, the strategy included efforts to use Chinese contacts with big U.S. companies to influence U.S. business leaders to turn against the President of the United States of America. The Chinese government sought to identify U.S. journalists who had reported negatively on the U.S. president and pay them large sums of money to write more negative articles about him, as many as they could, and they didn't care what they said. The Chinese government wanted U.S. president to lose the next election, and the reason they wanted me to lose is because they knew I was wise to them, charged them billions and billions of dollars worth of tariffs, and built the strongest military anywhere in the world. We have the strongest military anywhere in the world. These are exact quotes from the CIA reporting. The name of the person doing the quote is now under review, but it gets even worse. Raw intelligence obtained by the FBI in 2020, yet buried by rogue bureaucrats, stated that China's activities even included an attempt to manufacture illegal ballots for Joe Biden. Documents show that during this period, dozens of significant CIA and NSA reports about China's election targeting were kept out of the presidential briefing. These were briefings I would get almost every day. Everything was kept out that was of importance. One email among intelligence analysts admitted that they had, quote, deliberately massaged the presidential daily briefing to withhold information regarding Chinese activities related to the election. Another official inside the FBI wrote that she was running, quote, a shadow government, unquote, to keep intelligence about China's election meddling from becoming known and to keep it away from the honorable press. Other officials who witnessed such efforts perceived the motivations to be blatantly political. Recently, we found significant numbers of burn bags in formation, and this is a group of bags that were used to destroy information given by President Barack Hussein Obama to be burned. It was supposed to be burned. These bags were supposed to be at a different level by different people, incinerated and checked, but it never happened. Maybe we got lucky. We believe this was not done on purpose, but rather through gross incompetence of the people that were supposed to burn the bag.
Or they
But the
want to get
findings
paid
are
to sell
stunning.
it.
Today, I'm asking the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the CIA to investigate how and why such crucial information was hidden, to fire those involved in the cover-up, and to file criminal charges, if appropriate, against these people. Yet concealing China's meddling was only the beginning. The third set of documents we are releasing proves that for many years, Americans were blatantly lied to about the security of our election infrastructure, including electronic voting machines and ballot counting systems, dishonest, almost all. They're vulnerable and they're easily compromised, and people within our government knew that. Tonight, we're publishing a series of previously classified U.S. intelligence community assessments and other reports proving that our government has long known these machines are extremely exposed to attack. As one assessment states, we judge that the United States adversaries, including at a minimum Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, as well as non-state groups, have the capability to compromise U.S. election infrastructure. That's unquote, but that's some statement, isn't it? Made by supposedly great patriots of our country. The document goes on to further state that, quote, we assess that centralized election-related data repositories, such as voter registration databases, poll books, and other official election websites, are most vulnerable to exploitation, and adversaries could use this access to these systems to disrupt election processes within the United States of America. Tonight, we're releasing all of those findings, and spanning from January 2020 to June 2026. This is a cyber threat aimed at the very heart of our democracy. Many people have questioned whether it could actually be possible to electronically manipulate vote totals or change election results on these terrible machines. Today, we are releasing documents that show the CIA obtained reporting of a specific plot to do a big number in favor of the corrupt Maduro regime in Venezuela. And that's exactly what happened, conspiring to digitally rig their own country's elections in 2020, and that's what they did. This reporting included precise details about methods to regime develop to digitally alter vote totals in ways that could not be detected even with an audit, no matter how deep they went. This intelligence underscores why we must take urgent action to ensure that our own system can never, ever be hacked or compromised like it was in the past. The fourth set of documents reveals that even when significant evidence of fraud has been detected, it has been buried and covered up. Among the disclosures tonight are FBI files detailing evidence of alleged fraud by a large-scale voter registration operation in Michigan. In 2020, Michigan State Police raided a Democrat Get Out the Vote organization, corrupt group in Muskegon, and were so concerned by what they found. They were just so concerned. They couldn't believe it, actually, that they contacted the FBI in Detroit. The documents state that some canvassers admitted to FBI agents that they signed voter registration forms in other people's names, submitted fraudulent registration for people who did not exist, and received gift cards tied to their number of applications that they produced. In other words, it was pay, play, and cheat. The FBI agents working on the case believe that crimes were committed, yet the Biden Department of Justice slow-walked the investigation and killed it. Tonight, I'm asking the FBI director to ensure that the matter is fully investigated and to work with the Department of Justice to prosecute those responsible for any crimes. Finally, to reveal just how vulnerable our elections continue to be, we are releasing the results of a stunning investigation by the Department of Homeland Security. According to the DHS review, state voter rolls and public records, they identified approximately 278,000 non-citizens who are registered to vote in federal elections. Since Democrat states refuse to share their voter files, the real number is actually much higher than that. Yet, even this limited analysis found more than 250,000 foreigners illegally registered to vote. Put together, these disclosures reveal an election system so broken and so vulnerable that no one can possibly defend it. It is not defensible. Hundreds of millions of U.S. voter files are in the hands of foreign governments. Our machines and ballot counting systems are exposed to hacking and manipulation and corruption. China and other countries have been trying to meddle in our elections. Evidence of fraud has been buried. Hundreds of thousands of non-citizens and dead people are listed and active on the voter rolls. And yet we still have elections with no voter ID, no proof of citizenship, and tens of millions of ballots floating aimlessly through the mail. As one example of the insanity, California's recent election for mayor of LA and governor was held on June 2nd, long time ago, but it was just completed a few days ago on July 10th. Think of that, much more than 1 month. Took a month to count the votes. I wonder what they were doing. This is worse than any third world country. There's no third world country that has elections like we have. In a rare move, NBC and ABC Fake News have both said that they would not cover this speech. They knew what it was about because of the fact that they don't like the topic, because they know how corrupt our system is and they don't want to reveal it. They and others in the media are part of a plot. They want to continue this fraud for whatever reason. They want to keep it going. They want to protect the radical left. They can't have a great country, and that's true. You can't have a great country without free and fair elections.
Or
Fraud
free
like
press.
this should mean a revocation of their licenses. They use our public multi-billion-dollar in value airways for absolutely no money. They pay nothing. All we want is honesty in our elections and honesty in reporting. They pay nothing for multi-billion-dollar assets. Great damage has been done to our country. Our elections were left vulnerable to being rigged and stolen, and the trust of the American people was lost. This cannot be allowed to continue. Every American, whether you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, or otherwise, should be able to agree that we deserve the most secure, honest, and fair election system anywhere in the world. Secure elections should be a partisan, really, we should be together, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, everybody, and it should not be a partisan issue. It should cause to unite us, not to divide us. This should be a cause. We should be united, not divided. In light of the brand new and irrefutable information I have revealed tonight, my administration is in the process of notifying the states whose election data was compromised by the People's Republic of China and many others. We will be working closely to mitigate any harm, and we're taking swift action to ensure that sensitive voter data is better protected so we can never be bought, we can never be hacked, and we can never watch a stolen election again. Tomorrow, the Secretary of Homeland Security will hold a briefing to outline his department's recent work confirming cyber vulnerabilities in our electronic voting systems. They are bad. We're in the process of informing governors, senators, and members of Congress of potential issues in their states. If you look at voting today, it's in such bad shape in so many states, and we are committing to fix it. And we're also committing to be working with those states and local jurisdictions to help them fix and patch known technical vulnerabilities before the midterm elections. We have very important elections coming up. We want those elections to be honest. I've also ordered DHS to notify every state about non-citizens on their voter rolls and direct them to remove all ineligible voters from the lists immediately. But most importantly, addressing this crisis of election security demands that Congress must pass the Save America Act. How easy is that to do unless you want to cheat? The only reason you wouldn't do it is you want to cheat because your policies are so bad and your candidates are so pathetic that you can't get away or can't get elected any other way. This landmark bill requires that all voters must show photo voter ID. How simple is that? Could I have your photo, please? Photo voter ID. All voters must provide proof of citizenship. Are you a citizen of our country, please? And hopefully there will be no corrupt mail-in ballots, which if you watched California and so many other places, mail-in ballots are inherently corrupt. So you would have no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military deployment, or travel if you're going away on business or vacation. These reforms are urgently needed to stop the vulnerabilities that I've mentioned. To all Americans, I ask you to pick up your phone tomorrow, call your representatives in the House and Senate, and demand that they pass the Save America Act without delay. Together, we will restore faith and confidence in our country, and we will be bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Thank you. God bless you. God bless our great military, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
All right, President Donald.
Okay, so there we go. I thought for sure he was going to do an emergency move. Maybe he will still. It was a good speech, Andrew. I think that I've been looking while he was speaking. I was looking on the whitehouse.gov to see if any of the documents were uploaded yet, and they haven't been released yet. But I will get those as soon as we can. And we're going to have a show tomorrow. So let's talk about what was found in the documents. I'm going to spend the day looking through the documents, and you all can take a look at Legacy Media and see what they are doing and how they are going to portray the speech and what Mark Wayne Mullin says. What happened here? My phone's going crazy. Now the light's going crazy. Okay. So what do you guys think? What do you think about the speech? I know that a few jumped off because I was late getting on, and that's perfectly fine. That this was about Trump, not about me, and that's good. But maybe we'll discuss tomorrow what you think, what you hear, what you've read, especially you, Kevin, in Australia. I want to know how your newspapers and radio and television portrays the speech. Let's all call Senator Thune's office tomorrow. There's Colleen. Beautiful, short and sweet. I'm amazed he kept it short. This is too important, I think. It's too important, and he wants to make sure that everybody, pays attention to what is going on here. I think that he wants the reports to speak for themselves. And I know, I had information here and there about what these reports have contained, and what the investigations were revealing. And they're pretty bad. They're really, it's scary. It's scary because we're America, and for all of our rights, and I will never want to give up one, but because our rights extend to even our enemies, as long as they're in this country and they become a citizen, or these days they're in the country and they don't become a citizen, we're at risk. We're at risk. So the truth of the matter is that everything can be cured very, very simply. The people who live in America should be American citizens, or people on visas where we can vet them and make sure that they're here for the right reasons, not here to spy and things like that. That's number one. Number two is that everybody who votes here is an American citizen, and that everybody's going to check and do it correctly. But as long, this all comes back to Neville Roy Singham and his work with the CCP. He's the one that funds DSA. He's the one at the back of this. It used to be George Soros, and now it's Alex. Alex is working closely with Neville. So we have people who are more loyal to China than they are to us, but they're more loyal to the almighty dollar. That's where they're loyal. We've got to do better. We've got to take back our schools. We've got to ensure that our children understand this country and how great it is. And we have to, clap back at all those assholes that don't think that America is the greatest country on earth. But we'll stay here to use its resources. Yeah, not anymore. Colleen says, I'm in North Carolina. It was on ABC here. I didn't check the other networks. Oh, well, that's good. It wasn't on ABC anywhere else. Thank you, Wayne. You rock too. It was on the White House. It was, let's see. Tomorrow we're going to hear. Listen, it doesn't matter where it was shown. Tomorrow we're going to hear from Legacy Media, and they're going to spin this as an authoritarian speech, debunk this, debunk that. The CIA is beholden to him. So, of course, these are made-up reports. We're going to hear all of that stuff. Mark Wayne Mullen, we're going to hear, nasty things about him. And we're going to, they're going to go back to, ICE, and the 3 people or 4 people now who have died, in relation to an ICE arrest. And remember, we talked about this either yesterday or the day before. I truly believe these are people that are martyring themselves to ensure that ICE always has a black cloud over their head. And that's not ridiculous to believe, because, in the Muslim countries, they martyr children. They martyr their own children. They give up their life for the cause. So I'm not putting it past them to be martyrs for the cause. Each one of the people that were killed during an ICE arrest, or during an ICE arrest, were going above and beyond to antagonize those ICE officers. So, we've got issues here. We've got issues. Did someone get shot by ICE in New York? I saw people chatting on Facebook, but no details. I did not see that, but I wouldn't be surprised. I think that what we're going to do is we're going to see a stream of martyrs. That's what we're going to do. We're going to see a stream of martyrs that leave the ICE agent no other choice, kill or be killed. I think that's what we're going to see. And how do you stop that? You know, how do you stop that? If you withdraw, if you stop arresting or stop investigating, then they win, right? But if they can get martyrs to sacrifice their lives for the cause of trying to defund ICE or get rid of ICE, they win there too, right? So it's almost like a checkmate situation. So I would think that, you know, ICE agents, I think that they need to reconnoiter how they're handling things. I said it before, I'll say it again. I would not send ICE into blue cities. Let them be crime riddled. Send ICE into, blue cities and blue states. I would send ICE into blue cities and red states where they're invited, and the crime statistics will speak for themselves. That's what I would do if I was Trump. I hope he does it. Being in these blue cities and blue states where there's no cooperation with ICE, it doesn't make sense. It just puts our men and women in harm's way. It gives them the opportunity to martyr. Why bother? That's, you have all these women and seniors who are all emotional, and they're never going to, they won't comprehend in their brains that there are people that will die for their cause. They truly believe that this is something worth dying for, getting rid of ICE, letting their country be invaded by foreigners. Yeah, I mean, look, our founding fathers did not have cooperation from everybody, and we know, we've talked about it here, that there were people that were undermining them all the time, trying to assassinate George Washington. So I just hope President Trump recognizes that he should be sending the ICE agents into the blue cities and the red states where there's cooperation. Get those under control first. Then you can worry about New York and California and all that. Let them kill themselves. Let them, we'll just keep on having more and more news stories of, migrants who without driver's licenses or who can't read, signs, killing families with, semis in California. We'll hear, more people who in Illinois, who, college students who get killed. We'll hear all kinds of unfortunate, tragic stories. The problem with Donald Trump is that he is very emotional. He's a very emotional man, and especially when it comes to protecting, innocent victims, he is number one. That's a big priority for him. But anyway, okay, it's 53 minutes, and I know that I didn't speak for long, and that's okay. I think we have a lot to digest with the president's speech, and I, for one, am dying to get my hands on those documents. So I'm going to sign off now, and I will see you tomorrow night at 8:00, and we will go over what I found in the documents. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. Yeah, I think it's the best way to handle this. I'll see you tomorrow at 8, okay? All right, bye, everybody. I love you. Thanks for watching with me. It was fun that we watched that together.